Hello everyone! Welcome to the first part of Go to Sleep Without Cuddles challenge. For once you voted for a fluffy challenge, and I agree, it's interesting premise. So, let's see. As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who still watch my videos. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the uploads, and check out the members only posts. I know what you're about to say, but I promise this one is nice. Nope. Nuh-uh, I don't believe a word you say anymore. Swear to gods, if this is one of your fake breakup ideas, I'll personally fly to Argentina and strangle you. Mean? But fair. Oof, even the silent giant thinks so. I care about Kenji. We know. What's this about then? And choose your words wisely. It's to see how your partner would react if you go to sleep without cuddling him. I suppose you all cuddle your darlings to sleep, right? Sometimes. What do you mean sometimes? Pudascio. He just doesn't want to get touched sometimes. I'm not triggering his fear just to fit your image of perfect couple. Right, yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry. But the rest of you do, I'm pretty sure, so try this. It might give you some good reactions. Okay, this one's not so bad, I guess. Isn't it going to worry them? What if they think we are upset with them? That's up to you how you deal with that discovery. Fine. You better hope Shige is in a good headspace. Yeah, I know. Go on then, good luck. Glad the challenge didn't seem to be one of the relationship-destroying ones Oikawa seemed to love giving. Kentaro wondered if he even was going to get a reaction. Any other time, he wouldn't have to, as Shigeru had always had a tendency to pout whenever they weren't touching in some way when going to sleep. Although, since he was able to fully accept touches again, he couldn't fall asleep if Kentaro didn't hold him the whole night. However, in the last few days, Shigeru seemed to want to stick to his side of the bed and only reached for his hand throughout the night, possibly because it was still hot outside. Oh well, we will see. Besides, it's not like he doesn't want to be touched at all. That said, he hoped the heat would pass soon so they could cuddle properly again. Especially if they were about to be getting up at night to take care of Aiko. He might be getting ready for that too, after the horde of articles he read. He sighed, hoping his husband wasn't overworking himself, and prepared for bed just as Shigeru returned from the bathroom. All good? Yeah, I was just putting some stuff away and gluing those rubber bumpers on the corners. Kentaro had to smile seeing Shigeru in full parent mode, even though he was still visibly nervous sometimes. But that would pass soon, he was sure of it. I hope you don't plan to wrap Aiko in bubble foil and cotton. I don't, but I don't want to add more sources of danger than there already are. Of course. Come here. He gently tucked Shigeru down for a kiss, enjoying the last touch for a while, before he huddled under the covers as much as the heat allowed him. Have a good rest, okay? You need it. Shigeru blinked a few times, for a moment looking like he wanted to say something, but then stayed silent and laid down too, although he didn't close his eyes. Against his usual habit, Kentaro turned to his side, facing away, and waited for any kind of reaction, if he even gotten one. For a while, nothing happened or moved, further confirming Kentaro's prediction. That is, until something tugged on his t-shirt, firmly clenching the fabric. He had to try really hard to hide the smile curling his lips, opting to just hum instead. What's the matter? You turned away. Never do that.
Well, you didn't want to cuddle the past few days, so I thought you wouldn't want today either.
Right.
I can still hold your hand if you want.
He turned over on his back, fully expecting to see the familiar little pout. But that wasn't what he was met with. Instead, finding Shigeru looking almost broken, his eyes glossed over more than he would like. He propped himself up, instinctively cradling Shigeru's face in his palms.
What's wrong? What did I do?
Nothing, I don't know what's happening. He sat up, urging Kentaro to do the same, staring at his now definitely trembling hands as if they held the answer to his questions. It was too much when you hugged me before, but now that you didn't even offer, I miss it and it feels like you are upset and...
Shh, I'm not. Nothing like that.
He risked it and pulled Shigeru under his chin, squeezing as tight as he dared to without hurting him.
I wanted to give you space.
I know. I'm sorry, it's weird, I know.
Nah. Maybe you're just stressed and it's showing like this.
He chuckled.
Or, you are the pregnant one.
Shigeru's shoulders shook a little, but much to Kentaro's relief, it wasn't because of tears, but because of the tiny smile settled on Shigeru's lips. Hopefully not. One baby is enough.
For now.
He kissed Shigeru's forehead, gently laying them back on the bed.
Don't worry about anything. It's going to be alright.
Right. Now that things were starting to stabilize, Semi found it harder and harder to push away the mess in his head. Memories of the cold winter night and the hot blood under his hand kept returning to him during day and night alike, as if he needed a reminder of how close to death he got. He still didn't know why, what horrible thing he did to make the stranger pull a knife on him. But that didn't really matter now anyway. More importantly, his voice still wasn't coming back the way he wanted, forcing already busy Shirabu to do everything that required talking. Not only with the outside world, but teaching Kosuke to speak as well now.
And you thought you can't be more useless.
He sighed, his throat tight when he leaned down to kiss Kosuke's cheek for a good night, only cracking a small smile when their cats rubbed against his legs. You should go nap too. He scratched the soft fur, earning a content purr from both as the cats settled on their usual guarding pillows next to the crib.
Safest baby around, huh?
Ita. Startled, he turned around after her voice, his heart racing despite being at home. Shirabu had to take note as well, as his brows furrowed immediately. Something the matter? Come on, you should sleep. Right, the challenge. He nodded then, and obediently followed Shirabu into the bedroom, the urge to wrap himself in the covers completely so no part of his skin was exposed growing on strength as he lay down. It was stupid. He was home, with only Shirabu next to him. Shirabu who would never hurt him. And yet... What are you doing? He looked down, realizing that in the midst of thinking, he subconsciously settled at the very edge of the bed, leaving a wide free space between them. Oh. Gentle hand touched his forearm, almost uncertainly, the eyes usually full of focus and determination looking at him with worry. What's going on? Please talk to me. I can't do anything to help if I don't know what's happening. And don't you dare to say it's nothing. I know something's going on. I know you are on edge, so don't you even dare to lie to me. Before Semi could respond, or even comprehend what was happening, Shirabu sprang up from the bed again and rushed away, only to return a moment later with a pencil and a notebook he pushed into Semi's hand. I'll wait and read it all, but you better tell me everything, understood? He might have sounded upset to many, but for Semi, the plea in his voice was as clear as day. This was his doing, his fault for making Shirabu worried, again. This was where his need to not burden his boyfriend further got them. I don't want you to worry. Then tell me what hurts you so much. Please, I want to help. But you already do so much. Who cares? What's the point when you are clearly suffering? He gripped Semi's shoulders, squeezing tight as if in deep despair. Rely on me for once. I do rely on you, all the time. Eita. Cracking a small smile to hopefully ease some of the worries from Shirabu, Semi covered his hand shortly before he turned to the notebook, his hand shaking a little as he wrote. And he wrote everything, from his nightmares and fear, to the worry growing deep within him that his voice might not come back, ever, taking away everything he ever dreamt of and much more. He hadn't stopped writing until 3 full pages were covered in his messy handwriting, his eyes fixed on his hands even after he gave the notebook back to Shirabu to read. The silence stretched for ages, making him squirm inwardly, and then he wavered when Shirabu threw himself around his neck. Okay, we can do something about this. I'll think of something for sure. No need to worry. And for the first time in weeks, Semi allowed himself to relax into the hug, returning it with all the need that gathered in him over the last several days. Just like he stated before in the chat, Daisho was still not entirely on board with physical affection, especially at night. Terushima understood, making sure he never went over the invisible boundary lines Daisho set up for himself, even though he wanted nothing more than to squish him in a hug and kiss every visible part of his skin sometimes. But he couldn't put his needs and wishes above Daisho's, and so he stayed patient, waiting for the right moment to deliver hugs and kisses. Maybe he will even be glad I didn't bother him with cuddles for once. That would be a bit hurtful, but in the end, the only one who he could blame for that was the piece of shit of his ex. Besides, he knew Daisho wanted to accept affection again. He saw it in his eyes every time, even when his mind told him to back away. Patience and time, that's what we both need. He smiled when he spotted Daisho making the usual nest of blankets and pillows for himself on his side of the bed, the sight making his heart melt. You sure you won't get too hot tonight? It's supposed to be a pretty warm night. I'm fine. I'm running cold, remember? True that. Well, as long as you are comfortable, I'm not saying a word. He settled on his side as well, opting to not turn away, if only so he could watch Daisho for a bit longer. Good night then. Kick me if you need anything, okay? Daisho hummed, although it didn't sound like his usual affirmative one. He tilted his head a little bit, his face telling a story of some inner fight before he too laid down. But unlike usually, his body didn't relax, maybe even on the contrary. For a while they lay in silence, before a light, uncertain tug on his part of the duvet made Terushima open his eyes again. Something wrong? He couldn't see much in the darkness, but he could still instinctively feel the way Daisho was now watching him. The need to say or ask something blocked by his anxiety to speak up. And so he reached over to caress Daisho's cheek, the shivers running through his skin under the touch, feeling all kinds of wrong.
What is it?
Did I do something wrong?
No, of course not. Why do you ask that?
You didn't ask for cuddles, just went to sleep. I thought you were upset.
Of course.
Sighing, Terushima shook his head and moved closer to Daisho, bringing his hand with the ring to his lips to leave a kiss on the metal band.
I'm not. I meant to give you some space since you didn't want to cuddle yesterday, and the day before that. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm actually impressed how you handled that annoying guy.
Really?
Yeah? It was so funny to see him simmer when you laid it all out to him.
He kissed Daisho's fingers once more, just to be sure he got the message across, and gently tugged on his hand to pull him closer.
So, if you want to cuddle tonight, I'm all yours.
Then, would you? Smiling, Terushima shuffled closer and up to find a better position, and then nothing was stopping him from pulling Daisho under his chin. The happiness when he finally felt him relax unmatched. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you worried. Or doubt.
It's alright. You meant well, and I'm grateful for it. Good night.
Yeah, good night. Sleep well, love.
Once again cursing his hot blood that ran through his entire family, Tanaka had to admit he probably wouldn't have much issue with this challenge. The summer heat was killing him, and even though it got a bit colder at night, he still couldn't manage more than an hour of cuddles at most before he inevitably got too hot and had to let go. It pained him every time, his need to hold and cuddle Ennoshita at all times reaching its all-time peak these days. But he couldn't otherwise.
Stupid body. First you get paralyzed and now this.
He huffed and grumbled under his breath, but that was about all he could do unless he wanted to bake in his own skin. Ennoshita was understanding about it, even cracking a few jokes about it, but Tanaka could see he missed the all-night-long snuggles. Or maybe he was just projecting. Who knows? Either way, he busied himself with preparing the body pillow Ennoshita got for him when he was allowed to go home from hospital to stay comfortably between his knees, finishing just as Ennoshita entered the bedroom. Freshly bathed and so pretty, Tanaka had to mentally slap himself to not start drooling. Even in a bathrobe, Ennoshita was still the most stunning man he had ever seen. Should I open the window? It's supposed to be warm tonight.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. I just hope summer's over soon. I need a break.
Ennoshita chuckled softly and opened the window fully, letting in much needed oxygen and fresh air. I'm sure it's going to get colder soon. But you better not complain when the weather changes.
It's not my fault.
He threw a nasty glare at his legs, which had a rather annoying tendency to hurt with every weather shift. Ennoshita gave him a soft smile and an even softer kiss before settling on his side. I'll massage them for you if they hurt.
I know. I appreciate it.
He then laid down as well, leaving most of his body uncovered to give his skin a room to breathe.
Good night.
Yeah, night. He visibly paused for a moment before humming quietly and reaching over to entwine their fingers together.
What's that for?
Shrugging, Ennoshita shuffled a bit to lay more comfortably with their hands linked, his gentle smile visible even in the relative darkness. So that you don't feel too bad about not cuddling me. It's fine, this is enough.
Aw, come here, you.
He peppered Ennoshita's face with kisses until he started giggling, his heart melting into a puddle of goo. Although, what did he expect from the most considerate partner he had the fortune to have? Not just beautiful, but kind and caring as well. He really did win a lottery of life by making Ennoshita his fiancée. Now he just had to make him his husband to seal the deal. Stop, come on, it tickles.
Too bad, I wanna kiss you senseless now.
However, he did stop as to not cross any boundary, and settled with his palm nested comfortably against Ennoshita's cheek. Their faces close enough so they saw into each other's eyes, but not close enough to be uncomfortable in the heat.
You are the best, you know that?
Why so sudden?
It's not sudden. I've known that for years already. It just took me way too long to properly realize it.
He reached for one last kiss, leaving their foreheads touching for a bit longer before he laid his head on the pillow again.
But now I won't let a single moment escape me. Say, how about we get married this winter?
Already? But that's so soon already. Planning takes time and...
We don't need a huge wedding. Just us, some friends, and our family. That's enough.
Ennoshita seemed to think about it for a moment, his eyes uncertain, but still trusting when he looked up again. Are you sure that's enough for you?
As long as I get to marry you, I don't care about the rest. I mean, obviously I'll make sure the day is perfect for you, but other than that, everything is secondary.
Okay, then let's do that. Tanaka grinned, stealing one more kiss from Ennoshita's lips.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The more attentive of you probably noticed that after a long time I skipped Sakuatsu in this challenge for obvious reasons. Obvious to those of you who follow the storyline. However, I do have something planned which has nothing to do with the storyline, but I think you will enjoy it. Besides other things, of course. Some parts too are coming up. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time.